I can't comment on using psychedelics for recreational purposes, but at the very least, I advocate the method of using psychedelics as a treatment for when one's mental health goes awry. There's never been a time before I discovered the magic mushrooms where my mental health was not fluctuating, middling, or subpar. I do have both Asperger's syndrome and bipolar disorder. I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome as a toddler. I was not diagnosed with bipolar until I was in my late teens. I was off and on various pharmaceutical drugs throughout the duration of my life. These include antidepressants, antipsychotics, SSRIs, the list goes on and on. I suffered all manners of side effects from them, including insomnia, substance dependence, depression, fatigue, anger, ambivalence, forgetfulness, and weight gain. Of course, I had to deal with and work around said side effects. Taking no medication was never a viable option. My parents and I decided to start weaning me off everything that I was taking, prescription wise, about half a year ago. I was in a dangerously emotionally crippled and dysfunctional state, mostly because of my unresolved personal problems and past hangups. I had little or no compassion or empathy in myself or who I was as a human being. We started enthusiastically researching the benefits of magic mushrooms, and we eventually found the right vendor for them. A profound transformation was set in motion. It was not immediate at all. It took time for me to have even a basic understanding of the mushroom's power, safety precautions, history, and mechanics. The first few trips needed to happen, but instead of being relaxed during the trips, I felt that I was an unremarkably shoddy excuse of a person for even using such a substance. This was all because of distorted, decidedly false religious beliefs. Of course, this isn't exactly common and is very much the polar opposite of the drug's intention. It was mostly because I really needed to go into these experiences with a far better attitude and level of respect for myself. Not just that, but I also needed to better prepare for these experiences and become more educated and informed. As the wheels turn, numerous things came to light and my worldview was reinvented. At first, I felt toxic shame and obscene proportions for choosing to take the magic mushrooms at all. My religious beliefs at the time had me feel that it was immoral or detestable, even though it was exactly how it should be. I honestly think it helped me come to realize that I was entirely too condemning of myself about everyday occurrences, things well out of my realm of control, or things that happened so long ago that were a lost cause. We're all going to have misunderstandings and fallouts with people. We'll never have all the answers. We all make mistakes. That's just the way life is, and it's quite alright. I was very young. The biggest mistake you can possibly make is to live in constant fear of making one. It's going to happen. That's life. It eventually made me decide to go my own way with my spiritual journey, which is what I had desperately needed. It was easily the best course of action that I had ever embarked on. Had it not been for the magic mushrooms, I probably would not even have had the epiphany. The broken spirituality and religious beliefs that I just couldn't seem to lay to rest were dead and had only made me resentful at the juxtaposition. It occurred to me that nobody was making me hold on to any of this soul-crushing emotional baggage. I was free to live my own life. I was free to make my own decisions. I had wanted to follow a path of life that was the path for someone else. The magic mushrooms helped me begin to know what my own path is. It truly dawned on me that there was nothing at all to feel guilty or ashamed of. There was only restitution, mostly for myself, that needed to be made. I have almost always judged myself and often thought that I owe people this and that. Quite frankly, I don't owe anyone anything. I still want to do right by the people that I love and care for, who show reciprocity, but nobody owes me anything either. I realized the simple fact that almost everything that I was blessed with meant next to nothing to me. I was seldom good enough for myself. I had no genuine appreciation for anything I had. Being down on yourself is the number one highway of being ungrateful. It makes you lose sight of everything that can be considered good in favor of what is not. Baby steps were made, and baby steps are everything. I was able to cry for the first time in several years. The magic mushrooms made turning over a new leaf a reality. There were numerous past hang-ups and dead obsessions that were weighing me down that I was eventually able to turn around from and release. None of these resentments were ever even very important. They aren't a big deal now, weren't a big deal in the past, and they especially will never be a big deal in the future. I owe it to myself to enjoy myself know my worth and value, and genuinely be proud of myself for once. I had to allow myself to be human after all, without feeling guilty for being human. Life lessons were learned, closure was had, and I ultimately have left the past alone. I'm in a new headspace and chapter of my spiritual plight. By no means is the magic mushrooms the end all be all. It's simply turning over a new leaf. This is only the beginning. I'm too self-aware to suddenly think I know everything now, or that I ever will. This is all incredibly recent, but my breakthrough would never have happened had I not sought after these magic mushrooms to curb the excesses. I was delighted at the opportunity to document my current medical history for this extra credit assignment. Maybe it was a sign.